Hello and welcome to the Part-Time Gamers, the gaming podcast for people with full-time lives. I am Cyrnix, clocking in with my good friend, 9 of 12.
Hi.
And our very special guest, Jon Jagger, joining us again.
Well, hello.
I was hoping I would get that. It's kind of become a signature of yours, I think.
It has. I don't know why either. Don't know where it came from.
Yeah.
I used to do it like Deckard Cain. I'd come on to any show like an old man. Well, hello.
Yeah.
And then it just slowly, I just dropped the voice and it just became something I said.
Yeah. For the longest time, whenever I started my streams, I would always do hello, hello, hello. Like, always do 3 of them. I don't know why. And I just kind of stopped after a while.
You gotta have a thing. You gotta have a call. You know, I used to go, hey, howdy, hey, which was just right out of Toy Story. Just steal that one. With my son, when he comes into the room, no matter what, I go, well, 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 and he does it too. So, you know, you gotta have a call for whatever you're doing.
That's what you want to train your kid to do. When you meet new people, just to look at them and go, well, well, well.
I mean, there are worse things. You know, for example, like it wasn't necessarily a like the same type of thing, but for the longest time, my middle kid had the hardest time saying the word fox. You could probably imagine what actually came out.
Sure, I did. That's why I left.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, Rob laughed way too hard when our middle boy was talking about birds, and there were this big flock of birds at Walmart, and he's like, fucking birds, you know. And so then because you laugh at it, he's got to do it every time. I'm like, you bastards. Like, I'm the one who's mostly taking him out grocery shopping. And
you know, the whole children thing, they actually have some benefits, you know. So they most of the time at least make you, well, sometimes at least make you laugh.
Oh yeah, my little grandbaby today, we went to brunch and there was a lot of what's happening?
Yeah, just like nothing, just like saying
like, did he drop something? Like,
yeah. Oh man, I'm trying to remember what like some of the so I think my oldest child coined the phrase waffle sauce for syrup.
Pretty good.
Yeah, we keep that one.
That's a good one.
For the longest time, my oldest couldn't say the word Christmas, so it was always Christmas lights, which we still use. Oh, it's adorable. Oh, yeah, she's 11 now. Just holy crap. Anyway, just made myself feel old.
There's some really cool old like hi8 footage or something from my Handycam of my son decided to do like thrash metal. Like, yeah, he had this little guitar we thought he might want to learn to play, and he just started doing, he's banging it, he's like, throwing crayons at the wall. Like, it was amazing.
That is something I think is hilarious, is like getting like heavy metal, but it's like the most like cute lyrics, like talking about unicorns and rainbows, but just screaming it the whole time.
Oh, it was so great.
I think it's hilarious. But anyways, we do have our guest here, Jon Jagger, and he is going to be helping us out talk about a game that you and Bo have been wanting to talk about for a while and still haven't, which I still think that is your Tsushima.
Yeah. It's never gonna happen. We've been bonus show content for a long time, promised, and still yet to deliver. We delivered another one. We made 2 promises. We got one of the promises out.
Yeah.
Will this one ever be filled? I don't know.
What was the other one?
We were gonna talk about Claire Obscure Expedition.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
We did do that one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know you did that one. I mean, granted, the whole time that you guys were talking about doing well, we might as well I'll just play the intro and we'll get into this. We're gonna get back to work.
Morning break is over. Morning break is over.
Just to make it official. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake. This is a game that yeah, I mean it's it's interesting because I know that like the time that you and Bo were planning on doing the bonus show was also like just about the same time that Claire Obscure came out, and that just kind of superseded everything. Rightfully so. I mean, Claire Obscure is an amazing
that
game.
was the biggest problem. Is we were gonna do it and we were having a hard time finding when to do it, and then we got sidetracked with other stuff, and then I played Remake again. And I played through the whole thing. I was like, I'm gonna take a look at this. And then next thing I know, I beat the game. And I was like, well, should I play Rebirth? Yeah, I should. So I started playing Rebirth, and Bo's like, we gotta record that. And I said, we absolutely have to record that. I have even more to talk about it now.
Yeah.
And I said, but I did just start playing Rebirth again. And he goes, well, let's wait till you're done with Rebirth, and then we'll do it. And I was like, sure. And then I got sidetracked probably by Claire Obscure and stopped playing it. So now I have to go back to it, finish it, and then we can do the bonus content.
Well, by the time you get to that point, though, Revelation might be soon to come out.
Which will be great, because then it can be 8.5 hours about the entire trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, that is not unreasonable for this series. Like we mentioned in the pre-show, our goal today is to keep this episode less than 3 hours, because I know I can talk about this game a lot. I know that John can talk about it a lot. I know that September is incredibly patient and was willing to let us talk about it a lot.
I'm usually bumping us along so we can stay an hour, so we'll see how I do.
But yeah, we're talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake. For those who are unaware, developed, published by Square Enix, is currently $39.99 for Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and Windows via Xbox, Epic, and Steam. Although I did earlier this week, at least, I don't know how long the sale is on. I saw it on the Xbox PC app for $14. So, I mean, pretty good price, depending on how you feel about Xbox in general. But it is on sale there for this point.
Never gonna come to Game Pass.
No, probably not. I'm not really surprised. I mean, I am surprised that it's only $40. I was expecting it to be more than that. I mean, we'll talk about it next week, but I think Rebirth was 60 or 70. I can't remember. It's one of the few games I bought full price.
It's still a little bit newer. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, so, my Final Fantasy experience is entirely. I played Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
that's what I got.
So actually, that's a good place to start, John. What experience? I know you. Well, I'll let you say it. What experience do you have in Final Fantasy, and just in general?
So Final Fantasy was always kind of an interesting series for me. It was one of those old NES games I could remember watching an older kid play. I think I was at like a babysitter, and like her older son, everybody would crowd around their NES and watch them play games because we were all too young and not allowed to touch older brother's stuff. And I remember seeing it back in the day. But it was always kind of a series that I circled but never really engaged in. Like, interestingly enough, I never played Final Fantasy II, American 2, and I never played Final Fantasy III, American Final Fantasy III. And so I kind of missed it through the NES, SNES generation. And then I also missed 7 because I was really late getting a PlayStation. I was an N64 kid, and so at first, and then eventually I did get a PlayStation, and the PlayStation that I got came bundled with Final Fantasy VIII. And so that was kind of, in a way, my first real Final Fantasy. And I played it, and I was like, this is amazing. I've never seen a game like this. This is insane. It's all I wanted to talk about. It's like, have you heard about this Final Fantasy? Apparently there's 8 of them. This is crazy. And all anybody wanted to talk about was Final Fantasy VII. And it annoyed the heck out of me. Because I was like, don't you understand? I'm not talking about 7. I'm talking about 8. They made a sequel. We can talk about it. And all people wanted to talk about was 7. And so for a very long time, I did not like Final Fantasy VII. Not for any logical reason, but simply because it was the popular thing that other people liked. So therefore I must hate it. And I kind of, after that, I was kind of into trying them. but I had this weird curse. I could never finish one. So I never finished 8, even though I liked it. I got 9 when it came out. And even though I had the wonderful help of the Final Fantasy IX strategy guide, let me tell you, even with that aid, I wasn't able to finish that game. I got Final Fantasy X, never finished it. I played 11 and switched to World of Warcraft. I played a lot of 12 and kind of bounced off of that. I eventually found some fun in 13 and didn't finish that one. Completely skipped over 14 for a long period of time. Eventually went back to it. That's its own thing. Yeah. And then I didn't play any others after that for a while. And so it kind of became this thing, this sort of albatross above me of like, I gotta finish one of these games. You know, I say that I like the series. I played so many of them. Yeah. But I've never actually finished a Final Fantasy. I thought, well, they're doing these pixel remasters. Never been a better time to get into Final Fantasy. Let me go in and try it. And I just started beating them. And so I got through all of 1, all of 2, actual 2, actual 3.
Oh, right on.
All the way through 6. By that time, I had kind of gotten caught up in current with 14.
Did you skip 7 out of spite?
Well, that's funny you should mention that. Before I got to 7, Final Fantasy 7 Remake came out, and it looked amazing, like undeniable. I mean, whether you're interested in the series or not, I think from a graphical and artistic standpoint, it's very hard to look at that game and not feel compelled by it. Like, it visually is just, it's incredible what they've done with it. And I was too compelled. I was like, I got to try it. But I was still very old school mentality when I went into it. It was like, it's dumb. Where's the turn-based battles? Why do I got to press a button to hit stuff? And so I put it on casual because I was like, I don't want to do this. I want turn-based battles. I want real Final Fantasy. But I gave it a shot. And then I did eventually go back to play Final Fantasy VII. And as of right now, with the exception of 11, I'm currently on Final Fantasy 13 on a completion run.
Nice.
So I have played and finished every Final Fantasy 1 to 13 at the moment. And I also have finished 14 and 16. Current in 14 and finished 16.
Close, effectively finished for now until the next patch. Oh, cool. So like my experience, like one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show is because from watching Core, and it was mentioned that you'd played through with the original Final Fantasy VII, which is going to be important for our conversation later. But my experience with Final Fantasy and series in general is the only Final Fantasy I've ever actually played and completed is Final Fantasy X. That was so I never had a original PlayStation. I like you, I was an N64 kid, and then I got a PlayStation 2 and started playing Final Fantasy X. Really liked the characters, really liked the world. I really we'll get into it more later in this one, but I really like that combination of technology and magic in the world. Whether it's like you start off with a fantasy world and then integrate technology into that fantasy world, or you start with that like technological or even just modern technology, not even advanced technology, but like modern technology, and then add magic into that. I really like that mix. And Final Fantasy X had a little bit of that. They did a little bit more of that in 10-2, but which is still a dumb name. Personally, I think it's just
10-2.
Yes, they made a Final Fantasy X-2, so it's a direct sequel.
You can't call it 11.
Well, there is a Final Fantasy 11, but it's like
I know, so you can't call it 11. What are you gonna call it?
Yeah,
I mean, sequel to 10.
10.5.
No, this ain't Kingdom Hearts. We don't do 0.5s over here.
But yeah, I play like even to this day. My all-time favorite Final Fantasy character is Auron. Love that character. And I think it's hilarious how in the game he's portrayed as this like very old, very wise warrior type character, very stoic and everything. And then you find out his like canonical age is like 35.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like I'm
He
already older
suffers
than
from a lot of
Auron.
anime and JRPG protagonists where you hit your 30s and you might as well be dead.
Yeah,
Like, oh my god, he's 30?
yeah.
He's hanging on by a thread.
I just think that's hilarious. But yeah, he's my all-time favorite Final Fantasy character. Uh, my experience with Final Fantasy VII was through my friends. All of my friends played Final Fantasy VII. They loved it. I watched I watched some of them play it, and because my first experience was Final Fantasy X, which has a pure turn-based system, and then looking at Final Fantasy VII, and it's like, where's the turn-based? It's like it uses the ATB system, the active time battle system, where it's like, for anyone familiar with WoW, the ATB system is basically your characters are on cooldown. There's a bar that fills up. Once it fills up, depending on their speed and everything, they're able to act. So it's not a true turn-based game. So I looked at that. I looked at the graphics, having experienced the PlayStation 2 graphics with Final Fantasy X, and my first thought of Final Fantasy VII is, this looks like garbage. This looks terrible. I don't like the ATB system. I want a pure turn-based system, and I never played it myself. I learned things about it about the system, about the world and characters and everything, kind of through osmosis from my friends. And I thought that, hey, the story sounds really cool. Like the themes that they go into with the different characters. I mean, the characters themselves, for the most part, seemed really cool. I liked just about everything about the game except the actual gameplay. So I have yet to actually play the original. So when I streamed, actually, might as well show some of my gameplay footage now. But
So
I
for
streamed,
the inexperienced person here, what is the overarching story
so it oh
for the
jeez.
whole thing? Have you got a
Well,
breakdown, John, or is it a series of stories? Like, because the
well,
world itself has shifted more toward, I think, the mechanical,
well,
but
that's
because the play I've watched has been a very different world than what I'm seeing watching you guys play this remake now.
well. Keep in mind that each Final Fantasy is in a different world. They're not
Okay.
they're not connected at all. Um,
Okay.
I think there might be an exception with like 1 and 2 might be, or I think might be considered direct sequels. I don't remember off
No,
the
I
top of
think
my head.
even 1 and 2 is its own thing. But it's a little difficult to tell because sometimes they do frequently reuse names.
Yeah.
So sometimes there can be parallels that are drawn where it's like, oh, we use this name for a kingdom again, or we use this name for a summon or whatever. But yeah, that's what the blank 2s come from, is when they actually do a legitimate sequel. That's when you get 10-2 or 13-2 or
Okay.
all of that business is when they actually do continue the story from it, because usually
The main
they
thread
just
is more the
leave it.
characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, with Final Fantasy VII specifically, it revolves around this group of characters, trying to keep it like. Also, before we get even further, for anyone who's listening, we're going full spoilers. We're not going to be holding anything back. Yeah, we can talk about whatever we want in this.
Nice. The chains are off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting
Look at
this.
that.
I was not expecting us to be able to hold, because I don't want to hold on to spoilers.
I was ready
I'm
to
just gonna
talk
say
around it.
Yeah, I don't want to talk around.
Nah.
I'm happy to not have to.
Yeah. It mostly, like, it starts off with this group of characters, Cloud, Barrett, and like Jesse, Wedge, Biggs. They're part of actually an eco-terrorist organization, basically called Avalanche, and they are fighting against this corporation called Shinra, who is basically had these giant reactors that are sucking what's substance called Mako out of the earth, out of the planet, and using it as fuel. Unlike something like oil or coal or something like other resources like that, Mako is literally like the life force of the planet. It's, even so far as they say that like when people die, their life force goes into the life stream, which is where they're pulling the Mako out of. So that's where it starts. Oh, jeez, man, the story goes so many places though. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, that's the
It's
reason
too much,
why
it's fine.
you can see, and this is evidence enough. You said, "What's the story about?" And you could literally see the brain go, because it does start on the surface. It's the story of trying to, and I would say broadly speaking, it's just what does the planet need to be saved from? It is the story of a fight to save the planet, whether that is from humans and our own actions or from sources beyond. That is the story of Final Fantasy VII. It is a battle to understand oneself and to save the planet.
Yeah. I mean,
Cool.
to sum it up as shortly as possible, that's basically what it comes down to. Now how they go about.
I'll say Cloud is a dumb name. Jessica's way too perky.
There's definitely like if you watch.
Barrett needs to calm the hell down. I didn't want to bring Mr. T with me. I would have asked him. Yell everything.
Which is funny.
Oh,
like,
Barrett's great. He's the
Oh,
secret. He's the secret sauce. He's the best.
I
If
just don't like his
okay,
attitude. I love Wedge, but I'm definitely biased
hold on, I'm gonna
because
try and win you over on Barrett's side. What are your
Okay.
thoughts on AI?
oh, that's a lot, dude. That's a whole conversation.
What do you think about
AI? Is an amazing assistant
what
to
do you think
make.
about data centers? Do you think we should build a bunch of data centers everywhere?
I think we have to, but we should be more careful stewards of our resources while we do it. But AI is an amazingly useful tool that can help humanity, but we shouldn't be using it to take over and destroy creative processes.
So let's pretend.
It's complicated.
Let's pretend, though, that the Shinra Electric Company went all in on data centers.
Mm-hmm.
And they built a bunch of them in one area. And they're not just mining, like, resources like regular ones. They're literally mining the souls of the dead.
The souls of yeah. So that's a no.
yeah.
Barrett doesn't like it. And I think he's justified in being a little upset.
He absolutely is.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to bleed all that over people who are trying to help him.
Well, so
You gotta be better at being a team than that. I don't want someone like that on my team. So, you know.
In defense
I get
of
he's
the
angry.
Characterizations, this game definitely has a lot of anime tropes in it. So that is like the over exaggeration of of certain characters and stuff, and like the animation of the like how animated they are with their mannerism stuff. That's all very anime. I recognize that, and I'm just kind of able to accept it.
Yeah.
So
I'm in the throes of One Piece right now. That's like my big fandom, and I put up with that bullshit.
Yeah.
Rob can't even watch it. He's like, oh my god, it's just, he calls it Weird Piece. Everybody's having that anime overreaction to everything they say. And I can be amused. But anyway.
But,
like Jesse is just like so damn perky.
I mean, yeah. I mean, she kind of. Do you need that? You need a little bit of that in this, because to counteract the yelling from Barrett and the somewhat dourness of Cloud and everything.
Yeah, Cloud's a grumpy boy. He's so emo.
Yeah.
I really like Wedge though. Like the Badger calms me down. Right? Like
he's a pretty cool character. I'm pretty sure. Is Wedge one that a name that they use frequently? Is that one that they reuse?
Yeah, Biggs and Wedge are in a lot of Final Fantasies.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
I know Sid is one that's in like every Final Fantasy, but
yeah, Sid is, I think he starts in 2, and I think he's been in pretty much every one ever since.
Yeah. but it's completely different characters, just in name only.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny. But yeah, to get a little bit to, I guess, kind of quickly go through like some mechanical stuff. So I mentioned ATB system. Uh, the ATB system in this one is a little bit different than it was in the previous games. It's not really a cooldown; it's basically just a currency for you to use your abilities. Uh, Basic commands like basic attacks, rolls, stuff like that don't need anything. But if you want to use a special ability or a spell or an item, you have to have the ATB for it. Uh, Arguably one of my favorite systems for like adjusting stats and like giving spells and stuff like that is the materia system. Uh, I think this system is amazing. Uh, Although I have heard it is different in this than it was in the original. I think
That's
in
true.
the original, from like I'm trying to remember from what my friends said. Like is it true that in the original, when you fully leveled up a materia, it's split off into a new version of it? Like a
Yeah, you got another copy of it.
Jeez. I can't imagine
Well, I
that.
mean, here's the thing about the materia system, and it's good. I really hope they go crazy with it for part 3, because the thing about it in the original is, yeah, if you fully leveled it up, you got a duplicate of it, which is extremely overpowered because you can make some crazy combinations.
Yeah.
Because the 2 games that are out encompass about 2/3 of the game. In the original Final Fantasy VII, most of the crazy OP stuff happens at the very end.
Yeah.
That's when you get triple connected materia slots, so you can
Really?
build some crazy combos. Yeah. Just think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
That's when you start getting, like triple strikes and triple effects and all sorts of like, auto do this when I do this, and then tie that into this. Like, they go absolutely crazy. Auto counters, all sorts of stuff. But it doesn't come in until the very, very end. And same thing with like leveling it up and getting a duplicate. You're not going to really get all that powerful until near the end of the game. So I hope for part 3 they go crazy, because they have held back on that. Because even in Rebirth, you're not getting triple slots. You're only getting one of some of the very powerful stuff. And with no way to duplicate it or anything like that. So they're definitely holding us back a little bit, and I hope they cut loose for the sequel.
Okay, so you use materia, but that's made by using Mako for electricity to create materia?
No, I don't remember exactly. I mean,
there is naturally occurring materia and there is artificial materia. Okay. In fact, one of the things that Shinra is really chasing is how to create their own artificial. So I believe, I could be wrong. If you get emails, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I did to you. But I believe, if I remember correctly, that materia is something of a naturally occurring thing, a crystallization of the life stream. And that it is something that they are trying to artificially temper, but that it's not unnatural for it to exist and be used. It is a part of the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one thing, like, I actually for the sake of like the balance of the game, I actually kind of like the fact that they've limited some of the more powerful materia. Because one thing I really like, one of the reasons why I have such a hard time restarting and playing through Final Fantasy X now is because, in theory, after however much amount of time that you play, every character can have everything. In theory, every character can unlock the entire sphere grid. And that really detracts from the game for me. I like having opportunity costs. I like having mutual exclusivity. So I actually kind of like the fact that certain materia are very limited, because it means like, okay, I really need to focus on, I want this character to be able to do this thing. So it's like, for example, magnify. I think there's only one magnify materia in Remake. I think there's 2 in Rebirth, but in Remake there's only 1.
I think you can get 2 or maybe 3 in Rebirth, but yeah.
But yeah, it's like having to decide, okay, I want what I want a character to have magnify, but do I want it to have connected to like a healing spell, or do I want to have it connected to like haste, where it's like, okay, I can with this one spell, yes, it has less duration, but I can just make it so that it affects everyone all at once. It's like you really need to decide on those factors. Uh, and I really like that about this game. I kind of like the fact that they've limited it for the sake of balancing that. I agree with you, though, John, that I kind of hope that they do go a little bit more crazy in the last in Revelation, because even if you have unlimited of the materia, you still have limited materia slots.
Yeah,
So
it's a naturally limiting system, and
yeah,
like, if I've only got one slot that can connect 3 materia, so you might have a million different parts that can go in there, but that's the only place you can use it. So
yeah,
it's a really effective system at letting you get super powered, but also having natural limitations put on your characters at the same time.
yeah. And I also really like for also like the weapons and the characters and everything like that. I like how with the materia system you can still adjust their stats. Like you can have like between the weapons and the materia, you can have any character kind of fill any role, but certain characters specialize or like would be more optimal for certain roles. Uh,
Right.
like like Barrett, a lot of his abilities revolve around being able to sustain damage. He gets lifesaver, he gets steel skin, he gets all these abilities that make it so he makes him tougher. He's the only character that I know of that you can pretty easily get to max health, to 9,999 health. In fact, I have him at that in my gameplay or my playthrough, using the HP up materials and everything. So he's very beefy. So he kind of lends himself to being a tank. Oh, Aerith lends herself to being a spellcaster, whether a healer or offensive spellcaster. But you can still, between their weapons and the materia, you can still have Cloud be a spellcaster. He won't be as good at it, but he can still do it.
Yeah.
Um, I really like that system. How they have that mutual exclusivity. It's like, okay, if Cloud's playing as a spellcaster, he's not going to be doing very much as much physical damage. Uh, I really like that system. I think that's one of the reasons why Final Fantasy VII Remake drew me in so well. Is because like all of the problems that I had with the original were fixed in this.
But
Um,
all that stuff's in the original too.
yeah, except like I said, the problems I had was the original ATB system and the graphics were the primary reasons
Yeah.
why I didn't want to play the original. That's been
I
solved
think.
with
Did you
this.
ever actually fix that though? Did you say fix? Like I've got a real big stake at. Hey, did you ever fix your problem of not playing the original?
Yeah, I have
But did you ever actually go back and go and play it? Because
no, I still have
I'm
not
gonna
played the
tell you,
original.
I think you would be surprised at how forgiving the ATB system is. So
Yeah,
it to me in my head, you're 100% right, and most people are. Most people when you say like, okay, well, what are the turn-based Final Fantasies, and they'll tell you it's from 1 to
I think
10,
3.
right? Most
Yeah.
people say
Well,
1 to 10, but it's not
well,
true
yeah,
because what you said is technically true. ATB picked up in Final Fantasy IV, is I
yeah,
think when they first started experimenting with that. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's
yeah,
not. Like if you go back and play Final Fantasy IV, the ATB feels a little punishing. You're like, oh,
yeah,
this is a little rough. But they do play with modes where you can do active versus wait. I think by the time they got to 7, they had it down pretty well. Yes, you can't
yeah,
sit there and idle on the like choose a target screen. You'll get shot to death. But
yeah,
for the most part, it still plays and feels like a turn-based game. And I will also say that because here's the one advantage of how popular it is. Because of that popularity, the mod scene for Final Fantasy VII is massive, and the
yeah,
tools to install those mods very easy to do. So I actually would recommend anybody who wants to try the original to do it. There's a mod installer. Anybody who's played World of Warcraft and done mods in there, it's actually basically the exact same system. Like, it's a self-contained installer. You go through, you pick what you want. For me, it was a lot of stuff that was, like up-res the background so it doesn't just look like you're fighting on a blurry mess. High-res battle models. I actually think the like chibi world models that they use, I actually think there's a nice quality to them. There's something silly about it. I think there's some that you can download where they don't all have the O face, where like, because every single one of them for some reason is walking around like, oh, and I don't know why they picked that face for most of them, but they have mods that'll fix all that, and I think just a couple visual mods, it feels like a modern video game. I think the biggest thing, and this will be sacrilege to some, I think the biggest problem with Final Fantasy VII is it needs a script update. The script feels dated. There's some. It's not necessarily just political correctness, though there is a little bit of that in there in a couple places. But there's a couple places where you're like, "What are you doing?" It reads a little like, "How do you do, fellow teens?" Like, you're just like, "Oh, this is kind of cringy dialogue," as people are like, "Oh, he's a rad dude." You're like, "What are we doing? What are we doing?"
That's kind of the product of the time. The original is like 30 years old-ish.
It is.
Yeah.
But there's some stuff where it's like you go and you look it up, right? And you go, well, this seems weird. This line is weird. You go and you look up. It's not even close to what the intent was. So it's definitely one of those games that suffered from, we translated it our way, and some stuff has become so famous that it's worth keeping, and some stuff is, could probably be updated to make things a little more clear, especially because the story does eventually get pretty complex.
Yeah. It starts off fairly straightforward. It definitely goes places, not Doki Doki places. September, you don't have to worry about that. Sorry, inside joke. But if I went, I could probably go back now and play through the original and enjoy it. Get that kind of perspective as well. It's just at the time, I wanted nothing to do with it. Other like this, like I watched Advent Children. I thought that was really cool. I really like the characters. I really like the world and everything. But it's just the game itself was just like, there's just a couple things I don't want to deal with. And my brain is the kind that it only takes one thing to stick on and it'll ruin the game for me. Like I was saying with Final Fantasy X, I physically cannot make myself play that game until I figure out a way to make it so that until I set my own rules so my end goal is not to give everyone everything. It's like I have to draft, okay, I want this, I have to make my own class list basically. To okay, I want this character to be my paladin class or whatever and only go for those abilities. It's like my brain will not let me play that game unless I do something like that. Gets really annoying at times, but that does kind of bring up one thing that I really want to kind of hit on, because again, I don't have the experience of playing the original. You do. I'm wondering if your experience of the original affects your opinion of the remake.
I think for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. It is still at this point, 2 games in, considered very tinfoil hat to say this, but the biggest spoiler, in my opinion, of the Final Fantasy VII Remake series is that it is a sequel and not a remake of the game. And that is a very popular theory, or an unpopular theory if you don't like it. Yeah. But I am 100% convinced. I am full in on the camp of this game is a sequel to Final Fantasy VII. It is not a remake. It's disguised as a remake. Sure. So right now, and the reason why it's not clear is because when somebody does a remake, it does give an option to revisit events and make little changes and make little twists. But there are some interesting story changes that have been made, and you can certainly understand a conceit being made for narrative purposes. So, for example, Sephiroth is not in most of original Final Fantasy VII. He doesn't show up until you learn kind of his backstory. He gets mentioned here and there. You kind of see some of his handiwork as you go through the Shinra building, but you really don't see him. Like, he's kind of a bit of a phantom through the whole thing. In Remake, he has a very big presence. He is showing up to Cloud very early, and spoilers for Final Fantasy VII. I'll give a separate warning. Sephiroth should not care who Cloud is. Sephiroth and Cloud have no real relationship with each other. Cloud isn't even who he says he is. And as a result, Cloud accidentally killed Sephiroth. He doesn't mean anything to him at this stage in the game, for the most part. And yet here's this guy appearing to our soldier Cloud, treating him like he's important, like he's special. Well, we all feel that way because we've played through the game and we've seen the grand scope of things, but Sephiroth should not care. Should have zero interest in Cloud. So that's kind of one. Two is the concept of whispers, which I call Twitter or Twitter ghosts. And I refer to them as that because they always show up whenever the game starts doing something different from the original. Yeah. And their interference forces things to go back to what happened in the original. And that's why I call them Twitter, because they get mad when the game starts changing what happened. And so their arrival is interesting because, again, things happen different in the remake, and then they show up and they make it happen the way it would have happened. And it's like, why do that? There's no reason to do that to tell the same story again. You don't have to introduce that element. You only introduce that element if you're doing something new. And so the conceit of the first game of Remake, the final battle, is with fate. The idea that fate is forcing them on this path. And it's this is what will happen, and this is what needs to happen. And the thing that is probably the most interesting is that there are characters in the story that seem completely aware of what the Whispers want and of what they're doing. And those two characters are Sephiroth and Aerith. Yeah. Both seem to be completely aware of the story and their part in it and of each other, which they also shouldn't know each other. And they seem to know the importance of one another. Now, defeating fate at the end, Aerith then claims that she can't see anymore what's going to happen, that their future's unwritten. You can go off and do whatever you want. Interestingly enough, Rebirth very much just follows the story of Final Fantasy VII. But that's a different thing. We're talking Remake. And in Remake, for two characters to know the story of Final Fantasy VII, why is that? Because it's a sequel. It's not. It is a retelling of what happened, and two of our characters know what happened, and they play their part, and they let things happen as it should. Except Sephiroth is the one who seems to be poking at it, which would make sense that he's the one poking at it. He's the one who lost. Yeah. But to get into kind of the higher mind thing, the idea is that when you die in the world of Final Fantasy VII, your essence returns to the life stream. Well, if Sephiroth died at the end of Final Fantasy VII, his essence would go back into the life stream. Yeah. And the Remake series definitely deals with alternate realities to a degree. Yeah. You can kind of, it's not like a multiversal story for the most part, but they do show some interesting things. There's a company logo for Shinra of Stamp, and he's, I believe, a beagle in the game that we play. I think that's the breed of dog. But every now and then they'll do a cutscene around other characters and they'll show Stamp, and he's a different breed of dog. Yeah. And in those instances, weirdly, there are characters alive who should be dead, and their things are going different.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Stamp is a completely different breed of dog. They're clearly doing something unique with the story. Whether or not that ultimately plays into the notion of it being a sequel or not, that's a little bit more up in the air. But I think if I had to put my money down and say, where is this story going, my best guess would be this is an effort to wipe Sephiroth from the life stream, not just from the world.
So the internet says it's different timelines. And that's what Stamp is the clue about, which timeline this is happening in. And sometimes a beagle, sometimes a terrier, sometimes a pug.
Yeah. I mean, it's not so much, they don't do a whole
and
lot
other
of this
dogs.
in Remake.
It's a lot.
They do a lot more of it in Rebirth, which I kind of like that little bit of escalation. So it's like in Remake, they allude to it. They don't really confirm anything, but they're showing the whispers, like, okay, the whispers are having some kind of influence in the world. You know, they're trying to, like you said, anytime something seems like it's about to change, the whispers come in and make it right. According to the original, they're kind of alluding to that. You know, you're literally fighting fate at the end of it, to try to be able to break out of that. And then there's that escalation in Rebirth, where it's not an illusion anymore. They're just straight up showing you that, hey, there's more to this. They're showing you potentially alternate timelines. They're showing like Sephiroth's plan is to take control of the whispers so that he can manipulate the timelines. So what I'm hoping is that when they get into Revelation, that they're just going to go throw it all out and say, or not throw it all out, but like throw everything out there that, hey, this is what's going on, and really escalate it even further, and maybe even like go be able to explore even further, like maybe even manipulate the different timelines. And maybe that's finally the point where fate kind of breaks, and that's where it starts to really shift away from the original story. That's what I'm hoping, and I do think that kind of supports the sequel notion rather than the remake notion. But I mean, we'll see when we get there. A little bit of a preview of our talk on Rebirth.
I mean, I also just think it's a real bold statement to call your game a remake and then have it not actually be a remake. I think there's something super cool about that, to be like, hey guys, it's the Final Fantasy VII remake. Oh, you remade it. That's actually a sequel. Yeah. I just think it's really funny that that's what they've decided to do.
It would be a good, kind of an interesting twist to the whole thing, is like, it's actually a completely, continuation of the story. I do think that'd be kind of interesting. But do you think your knowledge of the original negatively or positively influenced your opinion of the remake?
Well, it went a little backwards for me because I hadn't played 7 at the time that I tried Remake. And when I started trying Remake, I immediately started going, because I had played a little bit of 7, so it wasn't completely unfamiliar to me. I had never finished it, but I had started it. I don't remember this. I don't remember this either. What's with these ghosts? What's going on? And I could tell something was up. Yeah. And that's what got me to go play 7, because I was like, I don't remember this. And I was like, I was like, I'm pretty sure Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse all died. And they were not all dead at the end of Remake. Although,
I actually do think by the end of Remake, I do think all 3 of them had died.
Did they show Wedge die, or did they show Wedge die after the fact? Because I'm pretty sure Wedge's death was revealed in Rebirth, but I could be wrong. I
don't remember off the top of my head. I'm still playing through. I'm replaying through the story on both. My plan is on Fridays to keep doing Final Fantasy Fridays and play through the story, because I've unlocked literally everything else in both games so far, and so I'm able to just kind of mainline the story. I recall that Wedge was seemed to be surviving, and then got basically thrown out of a high story window by the
Yeah.
whispers, because
Yeah.
like he was supposed to die. Oh, I know Jesse and Biggs both were killed during the assault on the plate, I believe in Sector 8. I think that was the right sector. I don't remember off the top of my head, but when they were trying to stop them from dropping the plate,
Yeah.
that's when Jesse and Biggs were killed. Oh, which
Originally Wedge died there in the original. That's where Wedge dies. He gets
Okay.
thrown off the top of the plate and dies.
Okay, yeah.
But
I
in
think this
Remake,
was
he has
thrown
a
out of the
he has a
chute.
grappling gun and a parachute.
Yeah.
So he survives in Remake for a bit, but yeah, when they assault the Shinra office, he goes in with the other Avalanche, and he gets killed. But I thought they left it ambiguous in Remake and then confirmed it in Rebirth that, like, no, this did kill him.
I don't remember off the top of my head. I remember him getting thrown out the window, but other than that, I don't remember. I mean, I'll get to that point at some point.
It's all fine as long as he falls off a high place, apparently. That's the only thing the Whispers care about. He
That's
can live a
the
little longer,
consistent.
but he's got to
Yeah.
fall off something.
Yeah. But I do think it is interesting there I I'm really restraining myself from talking about one thing that I thought was very well done, because it's in Rebirth. I want to save that for next time, for next week. But overall, I think the story, like, that's the thing. Is one of the reasons why I was wondering about this is because I haven't had any experience firsthand with the original story. I find this story really compelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find the characters, like, I had a general knowledge of the characters and everything. Uh, I had like just kind of overarching knowledge of the world and everything, and really experiencing it through this game, I thought did a lot of what I thought of justice. And I'm going to say something potentially controversial. I played through this just before Clair Obscur came out. I think on a on just about every level, Clair Obscur is a better game. I mean, it is a magnificent masterpiece style game. I think I had more fun playing Rebirth at the time. Uh,
Mm.
so it's kind of like when you're put in the realm of like movies.
Well, Clair Obscur is so dramatic, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a lot more, I think, emotionally evocative. Like
Yeah.
Final Fantasy is your fun go adventure, where you've got that in Clair Obscur, but you're gonna cry sometimes. So I mean, it's on a pure like I just had fun versus I had an experience. I think you have to measure them differently.
And that's not to say that I didn't get the same thing with Remake and Rebirth. There's definitely some very emotional sections in Remake and Rebirth. But it's just a different feel to it than Clair Obscur. And it's like the difference between a highly critically acclaimed masterpiece movie versus a Marvel movie. I mean, while one movie might be technically and critically magnificent and critically superior, there's a reason why Marvel movies make so much money. They're just a fun watch. It's like people enjoy it. And I think that's kind of how I felt about between Clair Obscur and this. I had a lot of fun just playing through this, really connecting with the characters. I mean, and there's a lot of still so much more depth to these characters than we've gotten to yet. Uh, we get a little bit further into a lot of the characters' backstories uh, in Rebirth, and some of them are just tragic. Uh, like, like especially with like Jessie. You find out her whole backstory in Rebirth and like what she was going through. You find out about Barrett's backstory, which is just it is one of the times during the game where it really hit me hard. Uh, Being a dad myself, you know, that whole situation with Barrett. Uh, you start to suspect, okay, things going on with Cloud are not what they seem. and they start to explore a little bit more behind that trauma that he experienced. There's
Can I
there's
ask a dumb question?
Sure.
Been making me crazy since I was watching your play earlier. At one point, Barrett gets a sense of humor, poking through. They're kittens. They beat something up, and then he does this video game song, and I was like, oh, what is that? And Rob's like, no, it's not that. No, it's not that. I'm like, and I'm like, what is it? I know it. What is it?
There's literally the victory sound from the battle music from the original.
From the original.
Yeah.
I swear I never played these games, but I knew that music.
Well, it is the victory theme of Final Fantasy. So it is if you've ever heard a Final Fantasy, and there's a decent chance because you said you played Kingdom Hearts, might even show up in there.
But maybe it's from that.
That is Final Fantasy victory music. It's been around.
I probably heard people use it as stingers,
Probably.
And it's just so of an era that at first I was like, is that Mario? Like, they couldn't use it if it was that. Zelda? Like, it's just got that little 8-bit music thing, and I thought that was... Anyway.
That's a detail I think is kind of hilarious that, because of course in the games that would be kind of out of character, just kind of flavor or whatnot, the battle music or the victory music. The fact that Barrett actually...
As much as he annoyed me... And the blaxploitation trope stuff just grates me the wrong way. I did get a huge kick out of that. Of course, we're people who in real life make video game noises when something happens sometimes.
Probably be doing that ourselves.
I have definitely I have definitely in real life done that kind of dumb shit. So
yeah,
it was relatable.
But yeah, I'm really impressed. Again, it might be because I don't have the experience with the original that I am so impressed with the remake, because I don't really have a source of comparison. But I think everything that they're doing in the remake series so far is very impressive. The fact that there is so much discourse on whether it's a remake or whether it's a sequel, or to what extent are they changing the story, to what, there's some very big points in Rebirth that are kind of very jarring and just kind of along the lines of, are they changing the story, that are very impactful. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're going to do in Revelation. I'm curious to see the systems that they're going to be adding in Revelation, because they showed basically a dress system, or a job system.
Yeah, they're giving them jobs.
Jobs.
Yeah. So, we would typically refer to them as classes, but in Final Fantasy they're referred to as jobs.
Okay.
White mage, black mage, those are jobs in Final Fantasy.
I wanted to ask John what drives you to 100% things. You don't 100% everything, right? But this Final Fantasy track, you talked about your long history with the game and stuff, and you're now working on, all right, damn, I have to finish something. But now you're 100%ing them. What's the payoff for that?
I don't know. I wish I could tell you. It's not something that I have ever really sought out before, and somehow this year has become the year of me 100%ing things. And it's not like I went in and was like, "This is the year. Not only am I gonna finish things, I'm gonna finish things all the way."
Yeah.
But
you're trying to set a good example.
I mean, maybe two of the games are Astrobot and Astro's Playroom, which I'm playing with my son. And, we've tried to use lessons from it. When I keep dying on a stage, he's like, "Dad, you're not finishing this stage." And I'm like, "Son, it only wins if I give up." And we're gonna be persistent. We're gonna keep going. But I don't know. I mean, the truth is I'm not doing everything. It like definitely seems tied to achievements, which in the past I have not particularly cared about, but I feel like achievements can frequently be a way to get more out of a video game. And so when I look at the things that I've 100%ed, they've all been games where it's like, I'm not ready to be done with this just yet. I'm not ready to hang it up. I want to play a little bit more, and I don't want to just start over and play it again. What are the achievements? What is there something more I can do? And so, I look at a game like Stellar Blade, and it's like I'm having a lot of fun playing this game. But what am I doing? I've already beaten the game. I've already, I've gotten good at it. I can I can fight the monsters and not have to worry all that much. What do I do? I'll look at the achievements. What do I have left? Oh, I could do those. Let's go do that. And it's a way to get a little more mileage out of it.
All right. Yeah, I totally get that. And I think that's it points to good game design, because like I used to do that in WoW. We'd take new people in the guild, right, and go do achievement runs, and sometimes just having to do the battle a different way to get an achievement is a different type of fun, and sometimes you get a new piece of lore out of it you didn't really pay attention to when you were just trying to win. And if games like give you replayability in achievements, I think that's good design. It's good to know Final Fantasy has that as well.
Yeah. I mean, these games are, you can tell that these games are something special. At least for me, because I very much play games like Scott does, where I don't stick with a game usually that's often. Like you
like 10 minutes of everything.
Well, usually my like I will get hyper focused on a game for about 100 hours. Like consistently, you look at my Steam library, and there are multiple games on there where it's like about 100 hours, 100 hours, 100 hours, and then I never go back to them, despite them being amazing games. Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I am already over 100 hours in Remake, and I'm almost 200 hours in Rebirth.
Oh man.
Just to give you, and like I'm playing even more Rebirth, because they're still like, okay, granted, I'm the kind of person where it's like, okay, I will sit down and spend the next 2 hours trying to figure out just what materia I want on my characters. It's like,
well, that'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll certainly raise your playtime for sure.
It's like, and even just like going out and just finding a spot to grind levels on materia, I've done that for hours on end. But the thing is, like, I mean, we'll get into a lot of the different, like the open world stuff in Rebirth next week, but I mean, I'm impressed with it. The fact that it's saying something when you can get me stuck in a game for longer than I normally am. And
sometimes
Remake,
you're just not ready to leave a world behind.
Yeah.
And I think that is both true to the question about why do you 100% games, why did you stick with all the Final Fantasies, and I think it's probably true to like why do you as someone who typically jumps from game to game, why is there a game that can hold you for so many hours? And I think it's just sometimes, whether it's the world, the characters, the story, or all of it combined, sometimes you're just not ready to say goodbye to it. Because I think we've all felt that thing where we finish a game and it's like, well, what do I do with my life now? Like, where do I go from here? Like, something has changed inside of me, and I don't know how to rectify this. And sometimes you're just not ready to say goodbye to it. And it's like, well, how can I spend a little more time in this place with these people, learning about this world? And I think Final Fantasy as a whole, as a series, is very, very strong at that.
Yeah. I mean, and I definitely agree, especially with this. Like, I can point out as like, I think the characters are really well done. They're compelling. There's some definite emotional moments. The story in general, I think, is very well done. Like the mystery of the whispers, I think, is really compelling as well, even for people who have played the original. Uh, I love the systems. I like the materia system. I actually like the combat in this. I did finally try out, like, I normally do just the normal mode. I did actually test out the normal classic mode as well, and that's actually really good too. So for people who don't necessarily want to deal with the real time combat, you can set it to classic mode, and all of the basic actions are taken care of for you. You only need to worry about the menu stuff, which is actually the little bit I played of it. It actually worked really well. I mean, they actually are kind of smart about like blocking and dodging and stuff like that.
I had a hard time with it, but I think that's because I was chasing truly like what was the Final Fantasy VII turn-based experience. I was like, well, this ain't it.
Yeah.
But I will say this, like my cautionary tale to anybody who's looking to get into this, which I don't know why you're this far because you just listened to us spoil the whole thing. But if you're out there and you're like me and you don't mind spoilers, but you're like, I might want to give that game a try. I would say put in the effort to learn the combat system because I mentioned at the beginning that when I went in, I was very resistant. I just played casual and I played Mash X Simulator. You know, like that was basically all I was doing. It was just Cloud. Okay, won another fight. Okay, yeah, won another fight, and it was. I loved the story. I loved the characters. I loved everything that was going on. Visually, it was amazing. But I would have said like, yeah, the gameplay was garbage. It was garbage because that's what I set it to. The thing that's interesting about the combat system is when I did revisit it, when I played it on PC, I was like, well, I want to actually learn this. Let me engage the game with where it's supposed to be at. And I played it not on casual, but on normal. And I actually put in the effort to like learn the combat system, learn how to do, you know, what's the point of Cloud having two stances? What's the Punisher stance for?
Yeah.
Like, why does he have it? And once you start learning more about the combat system and engaging with it, all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And I think the thing that's interesting is that the remake series has a combat system and gameplay where the more you put in, the more you'll get out of it. Now, the interesting thing is it's kind of a build your own challenge because you do not have to put that much into it to be able to get through the fights in this game.
Yeah.
You can kind of willy-nilly pick whatever materia you want. Do a scan. It's weak to fire. Hit it with some fire. I'll figure it out. Who cares? And you'll probably eventually get to the end of the game without too much resistance. But if you go in and you're switching characters and you learn how to play as each individual character and what they do and how they play and the strengths and weaknesses of their kit and how to play off of that, you have a much harder experience that you've created for yourself, but it is way more fun.
Oh yeah. I mean, it is. I completely agree. It
Good
is
to know.
incredibly satisfying. Like, I like the fact that they have the option that where it's like, okay, I want to play a little bit more, not even like not necessarily casual difficulty, but I want a little bit more, or a less involved experience. You can go into classic mode where it's like they'll do the basic attacks, they'll do the dodge, and you just have to worry about the menu actions. But I completely agree. Being able to like, okay, why does Cloud have something that I just started doing in the playthrough I started on Friday was using the parry.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So like one thing I didn't realize is like when you use the parry materia, it basically you can stay blocking and then just do a kind of a dodge and stay in that blocking stance. Well, if you combine that with Punisher mode for Cloud, it doesn't take you out of Punisher mode. You can do the dodge and stay in Punisher mode and like get quite a bit of movement just from doing that. So I slept on parry for so long until recently and started doing that. It's like it makes Punisher combat so much easier and so much more interesting because it's like, okay, yeah, the guy's way over there. Dodge, dodge, dodge. Okay, he's right next to me. I'm still in Punisher mode.
Shawn talked a little about what he was hoping for and expecting from Revelation. John, do you have hopes and expectations?
Yeah, I mean, for me, obviously, I just want the game to be good. Like, even if the story is, and it's the same as it was the time before, what? Like, if the game was good up until that point, it was good up until that point. Will it have met my hopes? No, but as long as it's a fun journey, that's fine. And so I do hope, though, that we get something. I do hope that they surprise us, and it seems like that's the path we're on. There's a lot of things. Sometimes people come up with wild theories, and you can go like, "So, this is a wild theory. Like Stranger Things has a secret final episode that they didn't tell anybody about that they're going to release after the actual finale because they knew the finale they did was bad, and now they're going to do a real one." You hear that and you go, "No." Enjoy your tinfoil hat. No. This, like, all the signs point to there being something because you don't do the things that they've been doing and then just do the ending as expected. You don't introduce new elements to the story. You don't introduce whispers. You don't, have different characters take different paths. You don't take one of the most, and you'll get into this next time, I'm sure. You don't take one of the most iconic moments of gaming history and muddy it up so it's not crystal clear what happened. You don't do that for no reason. Maybe you do, but then everybody goes, "What the hell were you thinking?" Like, to me, there's intent behind it, right? And so I do kind of want my expectations to be subverted, but in what ultimately feels like a true experience to what we've been given. I don't need it to be crazy. And it can even end in roughly the same place as the original. But as long as where we get feels authentic to what we've been doing these past two parts, like, I'm happy about that. I mean, honestly, I'm happy we're here at all because I think, and I know I was not alone when they said, like, yeah, we're doing Final Fantasy VII Remake. We can't get it all in one game. It's going to be like 3 games. I think a lot of people went, yeah, that's never going to happen. Because even at the time they announced it, it was coming out on the PS4 and the PS5 was about to come out. And it's like, you're going to do a multi-game series in between a generation of consoles? There's no way this whole thing comes out. And here we are at the cusp of all 3 coming out. Not much longer to go. And I think it's impressive that they did it at all.
And I'm so glad that it's going to be on PC day one.
Oh yeah, me too.
There are very few games that I am willing to pay full, like, AAA price for. Resident Evil 9 was one of them. Requiem was one of them. I think Rebirth was one of them, and I'm definitely going to be doing it for Revelation. It's going to be interesting to see where they go. Like I said, I really hope that they really start branching off, and like really going with the whole multiple timelines type stuff, where it's like, I'm really hoping they go wild with it. I mean, that in theory could even be, well, I'm sure there's better explanation, but it could be even a theory like why they have characters, or like why Tifa is all of a sudden able to be a black mage. Stuff like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's true.
Maybe it's like alternate timeline type thing. I don't know. We'll see. But you can always hope. But I do think it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. And I agree. They're kind of alluding to, okay, things are going to start changing. Like when you give the potential of one very important moment changing, even if it ultimately gets corrected, I think you're going to be going somewhere. And yeah, but we will get into that moment next week. Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered just about everything.
We did not talk about the pick up and put down ability and save points and how it fits into the part-time gamers.
That is also true.
Is it good for grown-ups? Can
I think so.
We feel like we accomplished something if we only have like a half an hour? Can we jump in and out?
I definitely think so, especially for Remake. Rebirth is kind of skirting our usual part-time gamer criteria. But Remake, I definitely think fits into it because it is very heavily story driven and very heavily
Mhm.
chapter driven. It's like you can play through a chapter, feel like you've
I
accomplished
feel like you've
something,
had progression.
yeah, there's definitely a
Okay.
definite progression to the story that is very meaningful, especially in Remake. Like I said, Rebirth is it still has it, but not. There's still a lot.
I
of
think
other stuff
Rebirth,
do,
you would
but-
have to have a little discipline.
Yeah.
You need to be able to ignore a big list of things telling you can go do this.
Yeah. I mean, well,
Schedule your game time. I mean, that's a thing.
I mean, and that's also the thing is, we'll get into that next week.
We'll get into that next
There's
week.
more. But I have a feeling that our potentially our talk about Rebirth might be even longer. But anyways, everyone, thank you for joining us. Join us next week for a discussion of, we've already said it, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Go figures, the next game in the series. But everyone, thank you for listening. If you'd like to hear, if you like what you've heard and would like to help us out, a few ways you can do that are by giving us a review over on Apple Podcast. You can follow my Twitch channel for our live recordings Sunday nights starting at 9:15 Eastern Time for our pre-show. The show starts proper at 9:30. Or you can join my YouTube channel for the VODs. Come up pretty much right after we're done recording. Or you can leave us a tip over on our Ko-fi. If you'd like to contact us, you can with our email, parttimegamers.cast@gmail.com, or you can join our Discord channel. You can find the show and links to everything around it using the link bit.ly/CI Productions. I need to swallow spit in my mouth. Excuse me. Ember, where can people find you around the internet?
The easiest thing to do is to go to 9of12.com. That's NINAOF12.com. It'll point you to all my projects.
And you can most of the time find Theo here. He's been doing a lot of work lately. He did say he should be able to make it next week. Well, so we should be able to get him back next week. But most of the time you can find him here. And John, where can people find you around the internet?
Best place to find me is on the Core podcast. We talk about video games. Sometimes it's Final Fantasy. A lot of times it's Final Fantasy, but it's various. You know, the show's 8 hours long. We get into a lot of topics. So if you want a really long video game show, that's where to do it. You can find that and all the other shows on frogpants.com. It's part of the Frog Pants Network, but Core is the one that I am on.
Yep, and you can email them at core.show.podcast, core.corecast@pod.
Still, that's right.
Call them at Three Little Pigs. What was the phone number?
And then somehow became right by the end. Imagine that.
Yeah, I still think 10hams.com actually redirects you properly. I think
it does. We have so many redirects because every time we mess it up, someone adds it.
Yeah.
So there's some wonderful person out there that every time we slip up on our words buys a domain for us. Because even 10 hams, it's like, well, how do you spell it? It doesn't matter because
10 hams sends you to the voice cast so you can send messages. Yep.
Nice. Oh yeah, for having John say all that for both of our listeners who don't know what core is. But anyways, everyone, until next time, we are the Part-Time Gamers, clocking out.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.